So take it away, Nate.
All right, thanks, Jenny. Welcome, everyone, to the conclusion of California Startup Weekend. Special thanks to our sponsors, especially the Blackstone Charitable Foundation and Techstars, as well as our numerous coaches, mentors, workshop leads, and facilitators. We are thrilled you're here, and we have 5 great student startup pitches lined up for you tonight. Startup pitches will feature students from the University of California and the University of Southern California. My name is Nate Prorock, and along with my colleague Jenny Jancy, we serve as the UCSF LaunchPad Campus Directors. LaunchPad Startup Weekends are designed for students early in their entrepreneurship and innovation journey. Almost all the participants entered this weekend without any prior knowledge or training in an existing venture. Since Friday evening, only 48 hours ago, if you can believe it, the student participants experienced an intensive and demanding entrepreneurial bootcamp, including workshops, mentor feedback, networking, hours of market research, and endless collaboration, all culminating in tonight's pitch competition. Students learned both the technical and interpersonal skills required to start a business, and in doing so, gained exposure to critical tools in their careers by being challenged to think creatively, communicate effectively, work in a team, and solve a self-identified problem. I, for one, am very impressed with how far the students got in such a quick time developing their startups. Serious kudos to all the student participants. You did a tremendous job. You hung on all the way to the end, and I am so excited and so proud of all your efforts. Without further ado, I will turn the digital floor over to Josh David Miller, one of our fantastic facilitators for this startup weekend.
Well, thank you very much for that introduction, Nate. I am so happy to be here. I have all of my Friday energy back. And for those of you who haven't gone through a startup weekend before and are watching this thing, you don't know how draining what Nate just described is. And so I was feeling the lull, and I'm hoping you can't see it in my face too much right now, the exhaustion that we've had from the whole weekend. But just being here to see these pitches again has got me totally jazzed up. So I'm really excited. For those of you who are watching remotely, as Nate said, I'm Josh David Miller, JDM. I'm one of the facilitators here. That's all I'm going to tell you about me, because that's not why you're here. I do have a couple of asks. I'm going to tell you about the agenda, and then we're really just going to hop straight into the pitches. So in just a moment, and I haven't told the judges this, which is why I'm saying this first, I'm going to allow each of our 4 judges to take 30 to 60 seconds to introduce themselves. You know, who are you and why are you here judging? And I'm expecting an answer at least 1 click better than because Nate and Jenny asked me to, but that's, I suppose, an acceptable answer as well. So we're going to get to that in just a moment, so you can be thinking about what you want to say there. And I do have a couple of quick asks. So as everybody knows, stay on mute when you're not talking. That'll keep everything running nice and smoothly. We are recording this, so hopefully we'll have this up for view on YouTube pretty soon. And in order to keep the energy up at least a little bit, with us all here remotely, I have the small ask that if you have the bandwidth and you're comfortable with it, to turn that video on and show yourself here, so that those of us who are trying to participate here get some reaction that we can see coming from us. Because what I want to see happen is this, right? Picture this. So you're about to give your presentation, and you get up on there and you see this big grid of all these people watching you. What you want to see, that excitement, because you can't have the applause in person, is a bunch of hands moving. You can do jazz hands. You could do the finger waving thing. I'm not a fan of that one, but you do you. You could do the little finger tapping here, which I always think of as no, which you can do that. But I want to see movement. I want to see excitement, because that's going to get us jazzed up in order to give our presentation, okay? So that's my small little ask of you guys today. Okay, so to move straight on into things, I'm just going to say, welcome Welcome, welcome, welcome to Virtual Demo Day. And we set out, as Nate said, just 54 hours ago, or a little bit less than that, I suppose, but 54 hours ago with one single goal, which was to launch a startup, baby. And that's what we set out to do. And with one thing in mind, right? We looked toward these judging criteria, which I'm going to go over pretty briefly. All right. So it was three things, right? You started on Friday with a 60-second pitch to get you all the way here, covering these three things, from a brand new idea to figure out a business model, right? You gotta have a customer with a problem, right? You have to have execution design. You have to prove that you and your team can execute and actually get stuff done in the course of a weekend and not just think good, right? And then you actually had to get out of the building and talk to real live customers. So because we have our judges here now, and so that we're all on the same page about exactly what they're being asked to judge you on, we're going to talk just a second about those judging criteria in one level more detail. So business model, these are the kinds of things that they're going to be asking while they're plugging into their rubric. They're going to be saying, how do you plan on making this a successful business? Are you actually solving a real problem, right? Is this just like, oh, it's a cool technology, but yeah, bro, awesome. Or are you actually solving somebody's problem? So much so that they'll pay you money for it, right? And are you doing something that's just the same as what everybody else is doing? We hope not. When it comes down to execution and design, right? You had to have actually built something. What is it? Show the judges, this is the thing, we built this in this weekend, it's amazing and it's functional, and look at it, it's pretty, it's got design, right? It's easy to use, all that stuff. You have to actually build something in the course of this weekend. And lastly, you had to have gotten out of the building, to use Steve Blank terminology. Now, getting out of the building is virtual these days, and that's fine. Metaphorically, get out of the building and talk to real customers, put surveys out there, get on the phone, get on LinkedIn, talk to customers, and prove to the judges that there's a there, that your problem is real, that the customers are there and they're just itching to give you their money. Okay? So that's the judging criteria. And I set out on Friday to teach you guys one core thing, which was that there's no such thing as a good idea. And we went through a lot of different ways of proving that. And I hope that if you guys look back on your journey over the last 54 hours, which I know is a little hard for you to do right now because all you're thinking about is that pitch you're about to give. But when you go and do some reflection later tonight, you're lying in bed, maybe a winner, maybe not. And you're sitting there thinking about the weekend and thinking about the arc. I want you to think about where you started and where you ended up and how different that is. Think about all the little pivots and changes that you made along the way, from the new teammates, from coaches and mentors, from talking to us, from talking to customers, most importantly. There's no such thing as a good idea. All ideas are bad ideas. And the work of an entrepreneur is taking a bad idea and turning it into a good one through this process of entrepreneurship. Okay. And with that, I'm going to let our four amazing judges introduce themselves in this order that you can see on the screen over my left shoulder, I believe, or my right shoulder. So starting first, 30 to 60 seconds, who are you and why are you choosing to help us out by judging our teams tonight? Rhonda Schrader. Sorry, I apologize. I did misspell your name there. That was a typo on my part. Rhonda Schrader.
No, it's perfect. Awesome. Hey, everybody. Oh my gosh. I'm so envious of you guys. Before, I was a serial entrepreneur, and then I came back to Berkeley to work with entrepreneurs all day. And I used to do a lot of hackathons and whatever. So I'm envious, but it's also kind of awesome to be on this side of the table. I run the entrepreneurship program at Berkeley Haas, as well as a program for the NSF to teach folks how to commercialize technology at Berkeley, UCSF, and Stanford. So can't wait to see where you're up to. Yay.
All right. Thank you so much for judging. Now we're going to let Julian Bryant introduce himself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Julian. I am a former lawyer and now an iOS developer. Been developing for iOS for the past 10 years. Also, for the past 10 years, I've been organizing and facilitating Startup Weekend events. Done about a little over 50 events at this point. So I've seen all kinds of pitches. Looking forward to seeing yours. And while I'm here today, well, I got asked to, but also I thought it'd be cool to see what it's like to parachute in on a Startup Weekend event on Sunday only. It's a lot easier.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. Wyatt Thompson.
Hello, my name is Wyatt Thompson. I am a product manager at Tesla, focusing around the ownership experience team. Previously, I was at Dollar Shave Club, where I led special projects around machine learning, voice technology, and I'm also a co-founder of a male apparel company, specifically around male rompers, is how we got a little famous. I'm here because I love Startup Weekend. It actually put me down the track of product management, of startups and tech. I just fell in love with the entire culture and the ecosystem around here. And it's nice being able to judge one of these events now instead of organizing or participating.
Definitely sounds like a lot less work, but thank you very much for coming here and spending time with us. And lastly, Charles Hart.
Thank you. My name's, again, Charles Hart. I'm a molecular biologist by training. I spent 30 years in Bay Area biotech companies, startup companies. They all were working on drug discovery. But for the past 3 years, I've led UCSF's translational accelerator called the Catalyst program. And I'm really looking forward to tonight. And I have to say, when Josh gave that intro, and he teased up this thing that there's no good idea, I was thinking, well, what is he talking about? And then when he answered the question at the end, I thought, oh, I get it totally. And coincidentally, I'm teaching a class on entrepreneurship to medical students in January, and I'm going to work that in because the light bulb really went off in my head about the role of entrepreneurship. So thank you very much, Josh, for that.
Well, I think my work's done, right? We can just close the Zoom now. I got quoted. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Charles and Wyatt and Julian and Rhonda, for being our judges today. I want everybody on the call to thank the judges for their work here. Do the hands, whatever you need to do to show your appreciation to them. I'm asking you now because the next time you probably see the judges, they're going to be grilling you or have just like not have you win. So now is the time to get the thanks out into the open here. So thank you very, very, very much. Deep bow of gratitude for you guys volunteering your time today. Okay, let's get straight on into it. All right, so pitch process, few things to note. All right, so this is not a surprise to any of our presenters today, but this is just a reminder, and so that everybody here and at home understand how this is working. So first, default to being muted. As I said, stay muted until you're actually talking. Second, we're going to go from presenter to presenter to presenter, just kind of consecutively here, which means you need to get ready to present while the team that preceded you is doing their Q&A, right? So while they're going through their 3 minutes of Q&A, you're going to be getting your slides ready, getting your window ready, getting your itchy trigger finger right there on that mute button, and getting ready to get on so that we don't have a lot of dead space, okay? So we're going to do that. Next, okay, you're going to share your screen. I really don't have anything else to say for that. Then we're going to, you're going to unmute yourself and you're going to give your little presentation. All right. If you have more than one presenter, manage your unmute that way. That's how that's going to work. And then we're going to finish with some big virtual applause, but without the noise. So just these, right? So we're going to do a big virtual applause, let everybody see the energy in the room. And what I also want to see happen is right here on the Zoom chat. I'm pointing to mine. Maybe yours is here too. Pointing right here at the Zoom chat, I want to see +1s. I want to see great ideas. I want to see the feedback. You guys were so good at doing that on Friday night. I want to continue that energy through. Let's support our friends and teammates here. And then after the virtual applause, what are you going to do? Well, you're going to mute yourself again because that's just the kind of polite thing to do. So stay muted when you're not talking. When it comes time for the Q&A, and the judges are asking a question, go ahead and mute yourself there and then unmute when it comes time to answer it. That way for the recording and for everybody else, we can all make sure that we hear the question and don't get anybody's microphone cutting out there. Okay, make sense? Nod, please. Thank you, there we go. All right, it's the only way I know on Zoom that I'm not staring at your avatars. All right, so now the pitch order. Are you guys ready? The participants have not seen this. There we go. We're going to start off with NetSum and then go to 3D Share, Macro, iLead, and Hydro Candy. I don't know why Candy got cut off there, but Hydro Candy. Those are our 5 teams you're going to hear from today. The judges have their rubric in front of them. We're going to get 5 minutes to present, followed by 3 minutes of Q&A. Remember the timer that you can see there. Pin it or unpin it, it's up to you. But that's what we're going to do. And I'm just vamping for a few seconds to make sure that NetSum has the time to get their slides and everything in order. So let me know, are we good to go?
Steven, you ready, buddy?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
All right, let's do this.
All right, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, NetSum.
All of us in the Zoom call know that with so many different platforms available to connect with others, it's hard to maintain your personal and professional networks. So that's why we created NetSum, your personal network manager. For young professionals, personal networking is everything. 85% of new hires already had a connection when they got their job. 80% of people get their jobs because of connections. And for entrepreneurs, 25% of them actually established their businesses through partnerships on LinkedIn. It's quite clear that personal networks are so important for getting great opportunities. But critical networking opportunities get missed, new and old. Why is this? Well, tracking and organizing and centralizing systems today aren't good enough. We surveyed people and they kept on telling us that, their network is not organized, or they don't have time to create a system, or there's nothing that really works for them. So that's why we created NetSum, your personal network manager, which is a network growth hacking plugin that stores and organizes every note you take on your personal networks all in one place. Let us show you how it works. Alrighty, so what you're seeing here is that we're going to be taking Brian's profile on LinkedIn. We're essentially curing into his network. You can do this through LinkedIn, email, various other sources. We're showing LinkedIn today. Then through GPT-3 data generation, which is actually AI, we're essentially creating an automatic AI generated summary, a bio that consolidates all the information and organizes it for you. So you don't have to enter anything. All you got to do is take the person and they'll take your tags and do it for you. It's really quite simple. What are the advantages to using this? Well, there are a couple. The first is plug and play. You can save, tag, and note take directly on any site. Uninterrupted work. You don't have to switch between multiple browsers. It's all centralized on one platform. And the best part of all, it's AI driven. The AI does the work for you. You don't need to do it yourself. Now for market size, we're looking at the global productivity market, which approximately is worth $45.81 billion as of 2019. It's predicted to grow to $102.98 billion by 2027. And let's look at some of the big companies here: Salesforce, HubSpot, Evernote, OneNote, right? They all do what NetSum does, but less efficient. And we've seen these solutions get billion-dollar successes. We're essentially a very defined niche in a well-validated productivity and market. And that's why NetSum can grow to that level. Let's talk about the pricing model. We have two plans: a premium plan, a 14-day free trial, which is targeted towards young professionals and entrepreneurs. They pay $10 a month or $100 a year. But here's how we're going to cultivate our pipeline. We have a student basic plan, which is free, limited version of NetSum for undergrads, which is accessible through their college Friday email. Notion does the same exact thing. Essentially, college students get so used to using the platform that when they graduate, they're basically forced. They have to continue using the model because it's just so efficient for them. Let's talk about our target revenue. So first year, we want to get $172,000. By year 5, $11 million. How are we so confident? Well, we actually tested it for ourselves. In just 24 hours, we got 144 followers on Instagram, 60 survey responses, people literally telling us that our product could change the world and that people need to get on this and support it as soon as possible. Don't take our word, for example. Let's look at what some experts say. Venture capitalists already want to test out the products. Techstar co-founders and other people who've raised millions of dollars already said that this is such a good play and money can be made from this. We have the backing. So let's really talk about how we stack against the competition. You see, NetSum is the only product in the market that is not only AI driven, but is also individually focused and has a custom outreach. And this is huge because what we're essentially telling you is that we're proving to you we have this specific niche in, again, a market that's worth $45 billion. The play is huge. But let's compare closely to one specific competitor to learn more about how great NetSum can be. All right, our closest competitor, Dex. They don't have AI consolidation. They don't have AI search filtration. They don't have uninterrupted data, and they're really focused. They're not focused on these professional users. And here's the thing: Dex is in YC, one of the largest incubators in the world. If NetSum is so much better than Dex with all of these different features, there is such huge potential for investors to be able to really consolidate in the market. Now for costs, there aren't that many costs. Here's the great part. It's online. You don't have to worry about manufacturing, no supply chain. We're completely online. You have developmental costs, GPT-3 credit costs, outbound ads and servers. This is fantastic because we're not stressing over getting product delivered to our customers. It's all online. And then finally, let's look at the team. I've been really fortunate to work with a great team. As we've shown you through our marketing and our tech, we have the skill sets to really take NetSum to the next level. So investors, I want to know who's ready to net some opportunities with us, because NetSum is your personal network manager. Thank you.
Right, big round of Zoom applause for NetSum. Great job. So we're going to move into our Q&A portion. So our 4 judges get the opportunity to unmute themselves and ask you any questions you want. As soon as the first question starts, Ryan Norton is going to start the clock.
All right, I'll bite. Nice shout out to Sid from Psych Insights. I love that team, love that company. Who will be your first 50 customers, and what progress did you make on this idea over the weekend?
Sure, I can take that one. So in terms of our first 50 customers, I think that really we're going to focus on people in our network like Sid, like some of those other early stage startup founders who have already spent their own time and energy basically building custom versions for themselves of something like this in whatever tool they're using. I knew one guy who built like a lot of these little parts while they were doing in, I think, Airtable. Another was building on Notion. Like a lot of people have tried to do this for themselves. And so I think that we could find our first 50 customers pretty easily there. And then your second question was what our progress was. Well, we have the syncing with email clients. So we already are able to do the consolidation of messaging from that. We are able to collect all the data from LinkedIn using scraping technology that we have developed. And we have the Chrome extension developed that allows you to migrate. The eventual plan is to have it automatically sync your entire network and then use the extension primarily for note taking. But just for demonstration purposes, we're one at a time introducing people into the system rather than putting thousands in all at once.
Thanks, great job.
So I actually, am I allowed to go?
Yep.
All right, cool. I actually have like my own process that I like to do to keep control of my personal network. So I can see a good opportunity around here. I just want to start with that. My only concern and question for you all is I've been seeing more and more bots coming around LinkedIn and Instagram. And if this is a personal CRM, I would be worried as a customer that I would come across as a robot to my personal connections. How do you keep it human?
I'll grab that one again, I guess. So we really don't do much with outbound messaging. We believe that when you're dealing with your personal network, that's your business, how you interact with people. You're probably not going to have automated follow-ups and mass outreach campaigns within your friend group, especially because of that issue. And so that's why we focus so much on this organization navigation and then making it easy for you to go and message them on whichever platform. So for example, we show you where you last communicated, what that last message was, so you can pick up the conversation right where you left off. And we plan on probably adding some basic message functionality, but we really aren't thinking that mass outreach is going to be the goal here.
Got it. Very interesting. Thank you.
I have a question. In addition to social professional media platforms like LinkedIn, let's say Instagram, can you also take advantage of electronic mail platforms like MS Outlook or Gmail and be able to fill your personal CRM with your email contacts? Because when you're older, a lot of your professional contacts aren't through LinkedIn or Instagram, but they're just through old school electronic mail.
Totally. And we actually have that.
Unfortunately, the clock has run out. So we got a great and brilliant question from Charles that is for now unanswered. Thank you very much to NetSum. We're going to move on to 3D Share. While you're getting set up there, the judges can write whatever notes that they want. We're going to give them about 15 seconds to digest there. And Danny, go ahead and get ready, man.
All right.
right. Deep breaths, man.
Hey everyone, my name is Danny. I am going to share you 3D share. This is Nick. He told me he was building a ventilator prototype a few months ago. And he can't find an affordable 3D printer service, so he gave up. And Amy talked to me a few weeks ago. She said her 3D printer has been idling since 2016, and it's got dust and spiders in her 3D printer. Man. So we conducted a survey, 37 participants. 92% of them don't own a 3D printer. 68% of them need 3D printing service. We looked into the market capacity. This year, 3D printing market capacity is 15 billion. 2023 is going to be expected to grow to 25 billion. So let's close the gap. This platform will allow 3D printer owners use idling 3D printer to earn extra income. And at the same time, we will provide resource for people with physical ideas to get access to 3D printer in the local area. Here's our product. Here's our homepage. Then let's look into the map. You find your local area, zoom in, zoom out, find your local printer, click into it, and you can print. And if you are a 3D printer owner, you can sign up here. And it's really straightforward process. And it's also got a marketplace. You can show your product here, or print, or take a product and print it out. Process is really straightforward. You have a design, you find a printer owner, you connect with the printer, and then you print. In order to find our first customers, we hope to look into university alumni associations, social media, to look for 3D printer owners. At the same time, we want to look for service users from schools, clubs, a lot of events, and DIY shops. In terms of revenue, we hope to look into 15% of commission of each transaction. And once we get to our break-even point in the future, we would look into the option of premium membership. We looked into some of our competitors. Free Labster in the middle, as you can see, is our main competitor. They have a very similar business model as we do. And other competitors vary in terms of cost and turnaround time. And we are providing lower cost and relatively fast turnaround time. In order to become even more competitive, we hope to partner with 3D printer manufacturers to provide printer discounts, as well as printer aftermarket business to provide maintenance and replacement discounts for our 3D printer owners. And this is a value that we create for them. None of the competitors are doing these. Looking into our development timeline, our average cost every year would be expected to be 600K for the first few years. And our revenue growth would be expected to grow by the factor of 10 in the first 5 years. And we are expecting that we'll reach our break-even point in the first quarter of 2025, which is our year 5. Now looking into details on first year, we're spending 400,000 into product development, cloud service, and marketing. And then going to year 5, we will have a revenue of 15 million with 1 million 3D printer owners online. And here's our team. We are consist of diverse backgrounds with mechanical engineering, manufacturing, as well as business marketing and finance. We believe that 3D printing will revolutionize the way things are manufactured and built in the future. Thank you very much. I'm happy to take any questions.
I'll jump in. So interesting idea. I'm curious about the validation you did on the printer owner side. Their willingness to have people come over and pick up their prints from them, their willingness to keep their data up to date in your database in terms of what print they have and what colors they have and stuff like that. Can you talk more about that validation?
On the, sorry, so let me make sure you're asking this, make sure I'm getting this right. So you're asking about different printer categories and materials?
No, I'm curious about, like, did you talk to printer owners and they're willing to participate in your platform? What questions did you ask those owners? Are you sure they're actually going to want people coming to the house to pick up their prints?
I see. Pedram, would you like to touch on this?
Sure. It was very difficult actually in 2 days to find basically people who own 3D printers. But part of the reason I joined this project is because I run a makerspace, and I figured maybe I can also serve as a potential customer for this project. So one of the main questions was, what are some incentives, or what are some basically what will prevent you from joining these platforms, or what are some incentives that you would have to join this platform rather than joining other platforms like Upwork. And like I said, we didn't conduct interview with like external, like with other people's, but I personally believe one of the main benefits of this project, as someone who's been in this space for years, one of the main benefits of this project over platforms like Upwork is all the benefits that you get as like discounts from the partners, or basically all the maintenance services and things like that. And this will be like a narrowed down platform for people in this community.
Could you talk a little bit more about how you differentiate yourself amongst your competition?
Sure. So right here, so our main competition is actually Freelapster. They have a very similar business model, and they have relatively higher cost than us for customers to print. And for other competitors, we have Make XYZ. It's also higher cost, maybe around the same turnaround time. And going into Freelancer and Upwork, it normally takes more time because they are not very local friendly. For us, we're looking into very local business model where you can find a 3D printer in your local network.
Cool. So what I'm hearing is there are services out there that kind of do this, but you're going to come in at a cheaper price.
Yes.
Cool.
And we also want to cut down the turnaround time by putting this in by looking for local 3D printer owners.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, the 3D Share. Now we're going to hear from Augie at Macro. We're going to give the judges just maybe 15 seconds to put in their notes while you get situated. Got some great pitches going on today. This is awesome.
All right, and we're all set if you're all ready. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Agustin Pimentel, and I'm here to tell you about a great way how you can actively save our planet while doing something that's super easy and something we all love, shopping. I'm here today with my team to present to you our idea, Macro. It's 100% sustainable material, high quality, and has been diverted from the horrible plastic pollution within our environment. And we are confident in saying that our company is even more sustainable than the most sustainable fashion brands you may have already heard of. I'm sure when I say that we have a huge problem with plastic in our environments, that it does not come as a startling surprise to most of you. But something you probably did not know, there are smaller plastic debris called microplastics that are found in our oceans and our Great Lakes that has been degraded into smaller and smaller pieces. And this is something you should all care about because these microplastics are so small that they pass through water filtration systems. They pose a huge threat to our aquatic life,
which eventually end up on all of our plates. And that's where you all come into the rescue, but with our help. Our group's fearless leader, Ukamaka, used our mural workshop earlier this weekend to put together a group of heroes who would take on the challenge to work together to come up with a sustainable product to help the environment. And with existing organizations who value the importance of sustainability and environmental conservation, along with the UC network, we hope to launch our idea. The biggest component to our idea is something called PLARN. For those of you who have never heard of this word before, it's simply plastic bags that have been formed into yarn. As the 4 steps on the slide indicate, it is the process of taking plastic bags that you're all well familiar with. It is then cut into strips, weaved, and turned into the fabric that we use for clothing and other forms of apparel. And when we decide to sell this, the most cost-effective strategy we determined was to sell it by the yard. There is small-scale machinery at home that currently exists to produce material that is similar to ours. However, one of the main goals of Macro is to industrialize the PLARN making process by upscaling along with remaining quick and efficient. And our manufacturing and value chain process can be explained in these 6 steps, from sourcing the plastic all the way down to delivering the fabric to our partnered clients. And through this process, we retain the overall integrity of our plastic. Now, you may be wondering, how are we different from our competitors? By using PLARN, we divert plastic from waste streams, and we avoid leaching these microplastics, which is the main issue our competition fails to do. To further explain this, let's say you buy a shirt from one of our competitors that's marketing it as being made entirely of plastic, and that's great. You feel good for making a sustainability conscious decision. However, this shirt, along with many others that use materials such as acrylic and spandex, are still leaching microplastics. And these companies are well aware of this issue. And that's another point where we love to highlight when discussing how we are different. We manage honest and transparent operations, making it convenient for eco-tracking so you know the true impact you are making. And it is now my honor to introduce our MVP, which includes a computer automated design along with our beautiful website. This is a CAD commercial of our PLARN material. And as you can see on our website, you can see how you can partner with us if you wish to use our material at your retail locations. You can see upcoming events to help the environment. And these are our partnered retail brands that are currently using PLARN in their retail locations. So they are definitely making a positive impact for the environment. And we know education is a big component to the success of our brand. So we have our mission, and you could also meet our team. And we feel there's a huge importance with connecting with us. So if you ever want to learn more about PLARN and how you can save the environment, you could always just shoot us an email. Now, when deciding who our customer segments would be, we knew that our social media and websites, such as our Instagram that you can see on here, will be vital for targeting environmentally conscious individuals, consumers who currently shop at outdoor and other adventure-like retail locations. And we also knew that in order to successfully partner with fashion brands, we would need to target brand buyers, designers, as well as retail managers. And when we surveyed and called our potential customers, we wanted to ask questions that entailed their knowledge on sustainable fashion, the brands that they currently know who are eco-friendly, their purchasing habits, and how much more they are willing to spend on sustainable fashion. And with that being said, we thank you all for your time, and we now open the floor to any questions. I guess we still have time. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Michael just had a technical difficulty, so he's going to reset the clock there.
Just a quick question. Why dusted PLARN, which is, it's just fantastic idea. But why doesn't that leach microplastics when a PLARN shirt ends up in a landfill or a lake? I didn't get it with respect to the spandex and the competitors. Why doesn't PLARN yield microplastics? Thank you.
Yes, so I can answer this question. This is because when you take that t-shirt made out of, for example, water bottles, and you put it in the washing machine, that water contains microplastics. So like when you wash it, it transfers into the water. Our process is different in the case that we keep it macro, we keep the particles big, so we do not refine the plastic like other brands.
Oh, thank you.
Great presentation. Quick question. what garments does this lend itself best to? I saw a bunch of things, hats, shirts. What are your thoughts on this?
As we haven't really refined the chemical processes to make it more flexible, we are sort of more leaning to headwear because it is a stiff material. So headwear and maybe things like athletic wear that would need that rigid sort of material.
I can't wait. Awesome.
Could I just get a clarification? The pitch for this is that you will produce Plarm, and you produce the products that are made from Plarm. You won't be selling the Plarm to other people who want manufacture products.
Yes, so we would be contracting someone to make our machinery, and then we would be producing the Plarn, and then selling that Plarn to retailers and whoever wants to use our material.
Okay.
These are great questions. Thank you so much. Anyone else have any questions?
How much money does it take to get all that machinery bought and set up?
We're not really sure about the money behind the machinery, but we expect it to we expect the low cost supply to outweigh the costs because there's such an abundance of single-use plastics in countries around the world. So it'll be easy to source our supply and outweigh the costs of the machinery.
Yeah, the end product will stay low because essentially you're getting the material for free, right?
Yes, and one of the
Cool.
things we plan to do is also source it from our customers and like offer a discount if they choose to donate like a certain weight of plastic bags.
Will you
That's
be
interesting.
patenting Plarm? Is that like your own? Are you people who produce Plarm?
Unfortunately, that was the end of the clock there. So once again, a question just stays in the ether. Okay, great job to Macro. That is 3 down, 2 to go, and now we're moving into our penultimate presentation from iLead. So I'm gonna let them get set up while the judges make their notes. So give it about 15 seconds and then go ahead and get started.
I'm ready when you are, Victoria.
Okay, give me one more second to adjust. Okay, I am ready as well. Everyone, do me a favor and close your eyes. Aren't you anxious about not knowing what's going on the screen right now? It's crazy how daily tasks become times more difficult without being able to see where you're going, what you're touching, and what's around you. When I was browsing Facebook, I was baffled to see a comment of a blind person asking, how come is it that we have cars that can drive at 70 miles per hour without human supervision, yet there's nothing that could help a blind person walk down the street at 3 miles per hour without another person? Is it because whoever is using the car isn't blind? Because it doesn't concern them? But how is it not a concern when 217 million people worldwide are visually impaired and over 36 million completely blind? Our goal is to give millions of people the independence they deserve. We are creating camera-integrated smart glasses for people who are visually impaired or completely blind. The cameras scan the user's surroundings in real time and describe a given situation and directions to the user through an earpiece. The glasses include object recognition technology that allows the user to navigate themselves to a destination safely and identify objects, people, and texts. The glasses include 2 cameras in the front and 2 cameras on the sides of the frames and a built-in Bluetooth speaker that sends audio signals directly to the user's ear and a built-in microphone for the user to talk, ensuring that only the user can hear the actions through the smart glasses and not people around them, protecting our user's privacy. The smart glasses are accompanied with an app that allows the user to create shortcuts and tasks And remember, people, places, and objects. We wanted to give the users the opportunity to control the glasses by themselves through touch of the frames without having to reach for their phone when they're in public, since we found out that this is something no other competitor does and exactly what our customer wants, according to our customer interviews. The glasses come with an app, as you can see, that works like a remote control, like a remote to control the glasses and its function. If the user is at home and would like to use their phone to control the smart glasses, they can do that. The user then can also send tasks to the app or to the smart glasses. For example, they can say, find my red pants, and the camera will use color recognition and object recognition to help the user find the object and navigate them to it by explaining the route to them through a customizable AI assistant. Indoor navigation in familiar environments was just as important to our responders as outdoor navigation, which is why we have considered both indoor and outdoor image classification. Furthermore, since we are using object recognition technology, this will include facial recognition. We're trying to use the AI to normalize the situations any sighted person could get into. We collected data by reaching out to over 20 members of the blind community to validate that they are looking for something like our product to hit the market. Their top concern was indoor and outdoor navigation, discretion of use, and object and facial recognition. The glasses are meant to complement what blind people already use. They don't have to give up their guide dogs, trusty canes, and other accessible tech that they're familiar with. iLead is there to give them the extra comfort and security. The average price of a pair of smart glasses costs about $800. The costs are only that high because our competitors don't focus on the same market that we're trying to serve. By focusing on the visually impaired community, we are able to remove irrelevant features like smart lenses, which would help us drive down our costs. To launch our product, we would start by partnering with Schools for the Blind, USAID Blindness Program, and World Blind Union. The technology to do this, as low as $53 per unit, exists. There is just no one trying to integrate it. The present day technology allows us to provide this price point. Even if we price our glasses at $300, we would still have $247 in profits per unit and that would make us affordable, more advanced, and accessible than other products on the market. There is no better time than now for our product. The global assistive technology for the visually impaired market is projected to grow to $6.57 billion by 2025, and we are hoping to capture 1/6 of the market. We don't want to just stop here. We plan to expand and extend our product to people with hearing disabilities, with Braille input and output, to people with dementia, people who struggle with technology, and people looking for new tech. The possibilities excite us. Remember how anxious you were when I asked you to close your eyes? Well, with iLead, you can get comfortable. Because with iLead, you lead. Thank you. Okay, we're ready for questions now.
So my first question is, I heard that you are coming in at a lower price point compared to the competition. How many customers that you talk to, what percentage of them already have glasses like this today?
Okay, according to our surveys that we've conducted, about less than 30% have tried smart glasses. Over 80% said that they use canes and apps. Not all of them use guide dogs, not all of them use Braille keyboards, and only some use smart glasses. But as I showed, the problem with those, they're expensive, not all of them are accessible, and the third, they rely on a live assistant, and that costs a lot more. So they only can scatter the minutes. Like, for example, I'm at a meeting, I have 2 minutes, please read me this brochure, and that costs money. And we want an artificial intelligence computer to do this.
It's interesting. Sorry, quick follow-up question. Actually, I forgot it. What was I going to ask? Come back to me.
I assume that the customer can decide how much information they want. I would think that some people want just a constant stream of everything that's going on around them, straight, right, left, whereas other people only want like important things. Can they control the amount of information they get?
Yes, of course. Even we as people, we filter out what 80% of our information, 90%. So yes, they can turn this feature on and off. So some technology that exists captures photos and then describes, audibly describes a photo image, but we want them to be able to turn on the feature and yes, they will be able to turn it on and off. It will not be a constant talking in their ear about every little thing.
Kudos on using customer discovery to get insights. I really like the point you made about, your customers want the being able to touch their frames and nobody else is doing that. So great job at getting your customers to trust you. My question is around, why are you thinking about pricing it lower? It seems like the value you're going to deliver is higher. Did you hear from your customers that cost was an issue?
Yes, based on, actually, many said that, yes, it depends on what these glasses can do. And
To jump in here, it's just because we want to, because we're doing it more for a social impact while still making profits. If we're already making 200% in profit, I don't see a need to hike the prices up and make them Google smart glasses.
And also one of the questions, we did ask if people have insurance that covers visual aid, and 100% of them said they don't know or probably not. So considering many people.
That's unfortunately our time there. Thank you very much, mad props there. So we are now down to our final presentation for the evening. Please welcome to the virtual stage, Hydro Candy with Lainey and Jack.
Yay!
Go ahead and share your screen while the judges take maybe the next 10 or 15 seconds to write their notes. All right, whenever you're ready, the clock will start when you start talking.
Hi everyone, we're Team Hydro Candy. Hydro Candy is providing a fun and effective way to stay hydrated. One day, my grandmother fell twice, so I rushed her to the ER, and I was shocked to learn that dehydration led to her fall and hip surgery. Like many older adults in our customer discovery, my grandmother doesn't drink enough fluids because she doesn't like the taste of water, has mobility issues, has difficulty swallowing liquids, and associates water with restroom trips. So every day my family and I spend hours struggling to try to hydrate her with limited success. Based on surveying and interviewing about 30 individuals, we found that almost half only drink between 1 to 3 cups of water, and found that there's a need of a hydration product that is tasty, efficient, and effective. Seeing that my grandmother's drastic recovery from IV treatment at the hospital inspired me to find a better way to hydrate my grandmother at home. Dehydration is easily preventable, yet 3 in 4 Americans are dehydrated. Also, it's been found that the majority of older adults aren't aware that improper hydration can result in confusion, seizures, or death. Almost half of older adults hospitalized with a principal diagnosis of dehydration die within a year. The older adult population is growing in size and in age. Improving hydration is one way to support healthy aging of this often overlooked population. So let's make hydrating more fun, easier, and efficient. Hydro Candy is a water supplement that looks and tastes like candy and is made of 90% water. With its proprietary blend of electrolytes and nutrients, Hydro Candy provides a longer lasting hydration than regular water. It's also organic, made from fruit juice, low in sugar, and is allergy friendly and vegan. Also, to monitor hydration levels, an electronic tattoo will be provided in each Hydro Candy package. This tattoo easily goes on the older adult like a temporary sticker, and it transmits hydration data to the caregiver's phone. Before Hydro Candy, it took my grandmother over an hour to drink a single glass of water, and it was stressful to think that she could fall again, and this can and has happened to others too. We've now created a prototype candy, and it only takes her 10 minutes to eat hydration that's equivalent of 1 glass of water, whether she thinks it's a sweet treat or a water supplement. This is a total game changer. These candies improve her health and save us both time and energy. As a caregiver, I feel good knowing that she's better hydrated and I can focus on the important things like quality time together. For the market size, leveraging data from our competitor, we expect to initially capture 3,500 customers, which equates to approximately $15 million. Plus, with the aging population growing, 1 in 5 Americans in a decade will be considered an older adult. For our business model, we're initially targeting caregivers and senior care institutions as our customers, with the older adults as the end user. This will be available by direct to consumer and also through business to business. We'll also offer a subscription model, and we're doing our part in social impact, and we'll give back to the community for access to hydration, healthcare, and education for underserved communities. For our go-to-market, we're planning to launch marketing campaigns that use emotional appeal to generate buzz and to partner with healthcare organizations and nursing homes within our network. And we plan to expand to customer segments, including to alcohol beverage consumers, to health-conscious consumers, and to athletes. Segments identified in our discovery and as well as in our network as well. We'll also partner with retail and healthcare channels. And given that the founding team has extensive network in Asia, it's the fastest growing market for electrolyte hydration, we plan to internationally expand there first. In our first year, we're expecting over $1 million, if you see on the bottom of the chart, bottom of the page, over $1 million for the annual value, which is 10% market share from our competitor. Based on our customer discovery, we found a great need for a solid form of hydration and a tasty product that is ready to be consumed. Also, we stand apart by making our product from real fruit and natural flavors, and we're the only ones to offer take-home technology to monitor hydration. As you'll see on the slides, this is our amazing team, Jack Adams, who is our accounting and marketing extraordinaire. We have Lu Wei, who is our chief engineer, myself, who is a caregiver and personal ER driver to my grandmother at times, unfortunately, in terms of the emergencies, and also Jack, who is responsible for production and research. And this is the way that you can contact us. Let's change the game. Hydro Candy provides a fun and effective way to hydrate. That's a treat we can all feel good about.
Can you tell me more about the tattoo? I'm just putting myself in the shoes of my grandma, who might be an end user here, and she's not very good at her smartphone. So what would that experience look like?
So I could answer this question. I actually built this prototype in the transition period between us and getting ready to prepare. So this is it's a prototype, so it can be biocompatible, and it's a peel and stick, very flexible. You find an area, right? And then it easily communicates with your phone. So just touch it. It gives you a report. And hopefully that answers your question.
I'm just curious, like, what type of data would the end user be looking at?
Hydration. It'll give you a percentage of hydration.
I can answer this. Like, our thesis is like, if we want to hydrate when, let's say, to elderlies, we can monitor the water level in the bloodstream, so we can alarm them instantly and just take the droplets of water instantly. They can stay hydrated at the same time.
Cool.
Was the prototype for the stickers and the actual formulation of the product done this weekend?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It was actually done, the transition between us preparing to talk. I found something on, and I just quickly programmed it and it worked.
And the candy itself?
The candy, yes. Leanne.
Yes, it was created this weekend.
In the example you gave, where your grandmother would take those tablets and in 10 minutes get the equivalent of an 8-ounce glass of water, how many of those tablets would she have had to have eaten?
That's a great question. It actually depends on how I actually, the size that I decide to make it. So it could be 7 larger pieces, or for example, it could be 15 smaller pieces. So it just depends. But I am taking into consideration of the needs of the elderly.
Thanks.
So as part of our customer discovery as well, we found that generally when people drink water, the good portion of them are in the around 30 minutes to an hour range. And doing something like this, equivalent cup of water, can be done within 10 minutes. So it alleviates a lot of concerns. Like sometimes people are just have a hard time holding the cup. They don't want to swallow. It doesn't taste good. This gives us a way to give them nutrients, electrolytes, get them hydrated. And hence, this is why we're also thinking in the alcoholic beverages market.
All right. Thank you so much for our final presenter. Let's give them some mad props. All right, great job to all of our presenters. Let's give everybody another big round of Zoom applause. I'm just gonna do my jazz hands here. Yes, that was great. I got to see that in all of these things. So the big question is now is, can you breathe a sigh of relief? And the answer is yes, you can, because you did it. It's done. All of the pressure is over. All of the hard work is done. And you can put it behind you now. All right. But unfortunately, your collective fates have yet to be decided. So there's that. So in just a moment, the judges and myself, we are going to be thrown into another Zoom room where we are going to, well, they and I am going to observe, pick out our top 2 teams to receive some prizes. And then we're gonna come back and have a little awards ceremony and do the whole thing. And it's gonna be fantastic. But while that is happening, while we go off into another room, I am really pleased to be introducing a guest speaker. Now, I've done, for those of you who know, I've done like 20 startup weekends, and almost always it's in a city I don't live. And so that means when we do a guest speaker, it's somebody I've never met before. But the weird coincidence here, even though we're all remote, spread across, I mean, at least by identity, throughout the state of California, but I know that some of us aren't even there. The guest speaker actually somebody who lives near me. And so I'm really excited. You guys are gonna love hearing Matt's story about Japa. I've been fortunate enough to at least see parts of it over the last couple of years here in the Sacramento area. So I think you guys are gonna learn a lot. So without further ado, please let me introduce our guest speaker for tonight, Mathew Magno with Japa.
Thanks, Josh, for the introduction. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay? I'm going to say yes. Okay, perfect. Well, thanks for having me. My name is Mathew Magno. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Japa. If you don't know what Japa is, we'll definitely get right into it and you'll find out exactly what we do. I have a nice presentation here for everybody. I'm pretty much going to be going through my whole story, where I came from, how Japa got started, the story of the company, and where we're at now. I'll give you our pitch, just so you could see exactly what we do and, where we're at. And then I'll leave it open to questions at the end. But I just want to start off by saying amazing pitches, great job to everybody. I was super, super proud and just like amazed by how great all the pitches were. So let me share my screen. Give me 1 second. And here we go. Okay. So Japa, yeah, weird name. Japa actually is a double meaning. It's an acronym for just a parking app, and it's also it's a meaning for meditation to relieve your stress. So we come up with the motto "Park Smart, Stress Less." But before Japa, when I first got started, hold on, sorry, yeah, the early stages, I was into culinary, and this is me getting a huge check from the NBA. And this is me dressed up as a giant parking cone costume. But we'll get back, all these will make sense later on. We'll get back into that. I'm one of 5 siblings. This is them right here. And I actually grew up in SoCal, in a place called Rancho Cucamonga. It's a really funny name. No one can even pronounce it. But that's where my entrepreneurial journey kind of got started. In middle school, I sold Slim Jims. I found out at Costco you can buy a pack of 24 of them for only $12. So I borrowed $12 from my mom and I sold each one for $1. And I found out I can make profit. I didn't have to borrow money from my mom. I paid her back and just used the profits. And then I upgraded in high school. I found Craigslist and I realized, oh, I can buy laptops for cheap, fix them up and sell it, and made a profit on that. So that's where kind of my entrepreneurial journey got started in a way. I'm a first generation student. I put myself through college. This is actually the college out in Rancho Cucamonga. It's called Chafee College, Community College. But being a first generation student was kind of tough. I had to work to put myself through school. I lived on tips, to pay for my living, to pay for my tuition. Worked at places like Mimi's Cafe, Cheesecake. This one's kind of funny. It's called Gyukaku. It's a Japanese restaurant. And I was getting totally into it, but I was still going to school at the same time. And I got moved to become a kitchen manager, and it was just taking up a lot of my time. I noticed that my grades were failing, and that wasn't great. I was at a community college, and so I really had to turn my ways around. I thought about everything. I set my goals high. I said, okay, you know what? I want to transfer out of community college. I want to go to a university. I want to go for a hard major. And, I set it high. So, sure enough, I worked hard. I slowly saw my grades started going up, and I finally got a letter from a school. I didn't even expect it. And it was UC Davis saying that I got in. This isn't my actual letter. This is one I found online, but, and then they said I got accepted for computer science. And right there, I was like, man, I felt like I had the world in my hands. Actually, a brain full of electricity, I guess. But I felt unstoppable. I set my goals. I was checking them off the list, and I got into UC Davis for computer science. And going to that college, I moved up to NorCal. I moved up to Davis. Didn't know anybody. Put everything behind me. I assumed that I was just going to be coding. Just sticking to colorful strings and words, and eventually go work at Google. And that's what I was excited for. And in my first year there, I got an email for a new class that was just being taught there, never even taught before. And it was an engineering class, but it was called Intro to Entrepreneurship. And I was like, oh, this is cool. I've never seen a class like this before. I'm going to join it. That's where I actually met my co-founder. This is him, Charles. We'll talk about that later. But it was in that classroom where we got to really come together and think of ideas and just really innovate. We had, you could see 3D printers and a shot bot. We could just build whatever we wanted. And the first homework assignment was to think of a problem that we wanted to solve. We had a group of people, so we thought, what should we do? We're at a university. Let's do parking. Parking is horrible at a university. We'd waste time. Oh my goodness. I would waste like 10, 15 minutes sometimes looking for a parking space. I would just sometimes miss class completely because by the time I get there, it'll be 2 minutes left. So we're like, let's do something with parking. So we got straight to it. We started thinking about the problem, the solution, what we had to really do to make this a company. And sure enough, we came up with this amazing company called Japa. This is the original Japa. This isn't what we are now. This is actually, the colors are horrible. This is the original Japa. But the idea was there. We wanted to put a sensor on every parking space. We wanted to show real-time availability on a map. So you didn't have to really waste time looking for parking, hence our name, Just a Parking App. We want to build Just a Parking App. And so what we learned in that class was the minimum viable product, your MVP, is so important. Why waste time building something when you can test it out such an easy way? So we did that. We built our MVP. Well, we didn't build it. We dressed up as it, actually. That's where this costume comes in. See, our MVP was us standing in open parking spaces in the busiest day of UC Davis, picnic day. And we directed cars. We dressed up as giant parking cones, had our markers that we cut out of cardboard boxes, and we stood in open parking spaces and directed cars to come to the space. And every time they parked there, we would say, hey, did we help you out? And they go, oh yeah, we loved it. This was amazing. And we said, okay, sign up for our mailing list. We're building an app doing the exact same thing. And then after that, we validated our idea. People wanted to know real-time parking availability. Maybe not as someone just as a cone, but through an app. So we took off. We started joining the entrepreneurship fund. It's accelerators. Different accelerators. We got into Y Combinator startup school. That's not the real Y Combinator, but it's a startup school. We were pitching our idea left and right to people, just getting our idea out there, even still dressed up as a parking cone costume. And when we were throwing our ideas out there, and it's really important to validate your idea, throw it out as much as, don't be afraid to tell people our idea, because it was then when we realized that our idea wasn't that great. We hit a roadblock. We had a lot of people saying it's not going to work. It's way too expensive. No one's going to buy a sensor for every space. You're crazy. And how are you guys going to make money? You can't put ads on your app. Ads are really bad. It's going to devalue your app. And so we had to really think about it. We're like, yeah, you're right. This isn't cool. Business to consumer is really, really tough. And then remember, we're still students. We had class still, we had homework, we had tests, but then we were still working on the company, and then we had a breakthrough. Oh wait, sorry. No, we had a breakthrough. And we realized, okay, let's not go business to consumer. Let's go business to business. I think it'll be a lot easier to sell if we worked with just one client rather than hundreds or millions of clients. So we got to work. We redid our business canvas. We went through our business model. We had meetings with each other, and we realized, what, this is the way to go. We have to go B2B, business to business. So as students, we snuck out of class and we traveled to Chicago to parking conferences. There are parking conferences, yeah, and they're surprisingly really fun. We're definitely one of the youngest people there, but all the people there just taking care of us. And we even snuck out and flew to Florida while we had finals, just to validate our idea more. And when we were at those parking conferences, just two students at a little table, people were getting excited. They said, wow, you guys really have something here. And then it started to catch on. We started winning competitions. We started getting awards, winning awards. This is the Sacramento Innovation Awards. We're on magazine articles, winning, a bunch of things. We're like, okay, this is the way to go. We need to go business to business. So we got to work. We got a startup house. This isn't it. I found this picture online too, but this is kind of how it is. We got a house where we just worked 24/7. We didn't have to worry about anything else other than the company. We put up monitors everywhere, desk everywhere, and we just did a bunch of research. I thought it was really, 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 really important to understand your customer. We didn't want to build anything that wasn't going to solve anybody's problem. So we took a whole year just really talking to parking directors, anybody in parking, just trying to find out their problems. And it was so great because they were giving us all the answers that we needed. We were university students, so we know people didn't like sales calls. So what I did was I reached out to them using our UC Davis email, our school email, because everyone wants to help a student out. And sure enough, they did. They were answering my emails, they're setting meetings with me, and sure enough, we became a B2B company. Now, this is kind of where it leads up to now. That was pretty much how Japa got started, in a classroom. We graduated, and now this is the mature project. This is where we're at. And I want to go into my pitch to give you guys really the full in-depth idea of what Japa is. And then I'll tell you about what I've learned over the past, and we can go into questions. So Japa, if you think about it, you have cities, you have universities, hospitals, airports, and stadiums. If you add all these places together, you have over 120 million parking spaces that are all poorly managed. Hi, my name is Mathew Magno. Like I said before, our vision is, oh man, this is going crazy, sorry. Our vision is simple. It's to solve parking everywhere and to make smart cities and universities a reality. Now, the problem that we're dealing with is parking. Now, you might feel like this a lot of times, or even like this. Now, I do, whenever I have to deal with parking. Now, finding open parking space is extremely, extremely frustrating. You circle parking lots, city streets for 20 minutes, and just to find out that there's not even a space there. And you have to repeat this process on a whole other, parking lot. But see, the problem with parking isn't just for us commuters, us people driving. There's a whole other end of the spectrum that we don't think about every day. And that's the people that manage the parking lot. Now, managing a parking lot is extremely, extremely inefficient, and I'll tell you why. You have people going around counting cars by hand still, updating their inventory into old handhelds. You have parking enforcement chalking tires, walking around looking for cars that overstay their parking, and they have to go out every hour on the hour just to see if that vehicle is still there. And there's still manual exchanges of money just to pay for your parking. Now, why these solutions don't work is, one, it's just way too much manual labor for things that should be automated today. We have amazing technology, why aren't we using it? Two, it's just not enough efficient parking information for the parking lot operators to make smart decisions. So, and then all this results into a waste of time for everyone, not just for the parking management, but also for us commuters, us drivers. Now, this results to over 75% revenue loss for the parking management. And for us drivers, we lose around 15 minutes a day looking for parking. Now, you probably said there's other parking stuff out there. I've seen it. And we do have competitors. We have direct and indirect competitors. Some you've seen like the lights hanging down in parking lots that light up red or green. It tells you that there's a space there and space not. It's amazing technology, but it's inaccurate. It's super inaccurate, and plus if you go into the parking structure and all of it's red, you still have to go all the way out. Now, you've probably seen these, or you might have not. They're underground. They're called inductive loops. Now, these count cars coming in and out, and it's just a count. But the problem with these is they're so expensive, not only just for the hardware, but installation. You have to drill under the ground. And these things, you've seen these are old school. This is just outdated. Parking definitely needs a new approach. And if you can agree with me, I can't hear you, I guess everyone's on mute, but that's where Japa comes in. And we have the solution to all these problems. We solve these problems of parking by giving our clients real-time vehicle tracking. We give their commuters visibility to open parking spaces. We give our clients new data that they've never even had before. Data that it's not just by level of a parking lot. We go granular on a per space analytics. And for drivers, we give you real-time parking availability, and then we give you directions to the open available spot. So I'll tell you how we do it. So we put these sensors on every parking space. And these sensors are amazing. They're all battery operated. They have over 99% accuracy, and it's amazing. And the best thing about it is they're so low profile, and they work. I mean, they're all pinpoint tested, pressure tested, weather tested. You could drive a double-decker bus on top of it, and it'll still work, and you can leave it in a pool of water, and it'll work totally fine. Now, with these sensors, right, we know when a car gets there, for how long, where it's at, and when it leaves. So we aggregate all this data, and we put it onto two products. One, this is our management software. Now, with this, parking lot operators, I mean, they love it. We automate their whole experience from managing a parking lot to even enforcing it. We give them, like I said before, real-time availability and guidance, and then we make their operation a data-driven operation, something that's very, very powerful today. And a closer look into our software, I mean, we keep the data in our system for over 3 years, so they can have historical data. They can look back at what Labor Day was last year and prepare for it this year. We give them real-time occupancy. We do violation tracking, so we just save everybody time. But we didn't forget about the commuters. One of the biggest things for our company is to differentiate us from other companies. And there's parking apps out there, and then there's companies that just have a management platform, but we do both. This is the Japa mobile application. Now with this, the drivers will see real-time parking in an instant. You don't have to look, you don't have to circle around parking lots anymore. You can see which ones are open and just plan out your whole parking experience. We tell you the policy information, so whether it's hours of operation or different types of payment options. And then early next year, we're gonna be launching our payment option, which is completely contactless parking. Thinking about parking right now, it's paper parking. You have to park, go to a kiosk, memorize your license plate, go back, put a ticket, whatnot. For us, all you have to do is park and walk away. Everything's done autonomously through the sensor in your phone. Now, if you're wondering how everything works for us, this is how it works. So each sensor detects a vehicle in real time. It sends that information through radio frequency to an antenna. Now, this antenna isn't that big. It's actually a smaller one that goes just on top of a building. But each antenna can read up to 20,000 sensors within a 10-mile radius. But that's like in the open field. So it's really dependent on the geography of the buildings around it. But after we get that from the sensors, we send it up to the cloud. We put that through our parking algorithms, and then we disperse it to our management software, our mobile application, or we have APIs for our clients so they can use the data themselves. Now, the value that we bring to our customers is we don't only increase the revenue, but we're able to redistribute their labor to more innovative places, and we save time for everyone. Of course, this is called smart parking, and it comes with a lot of other benefits. We're helping people find parking super quickly. So that means reduce traffic, and reduce traffic means reduce running vehicles, and that means reduce pollution into the air, decrease management, a lot of other cool stuff. We launched this company last year in February in 2019. And then, as you can see, we're already helping large leading organizations solve their parking problems. And we already have some partnerships too with PaySafe, Siemens, and Enwave. And we have a ton more in our pipeline with over $7 million ARR for our B2B SaaS company. And as you can see, I mean, we're not only hitting universities anymore, we're hitting hospitals, municipalities, airports. You know, some of our clients that have us are loving us already. You know, UC Berkeley actually leave it, their parking director, he said he leaves it on his second monitor 24/7 because he likes to see the dots change from red to green. You know, SMUD loves it. And SMUD actually is our first customer to renew for another 3 years. They just renewed, I want to say 5 months ago for another 3 years. So it's just a huge milestone for our company. But it brings more safety and visibility for everyone. You might have seen us, you know, on the news before we're on some of the competitions that we won. But I always like to end our pitch with, if you're ready to start parking smarter and stressing less, come talk to us. But I'm not finished yet. This whole journey of Japa has been insane to me. I never thought everything would lead up to where we're at. And we're still in the beginning. You know, where we're at today, we just closed $700,000 of our $1.5 million round. We're going to be hiring. You know, we're taking this company, you know, far. We have partnerships with Siemens. We're working on LAX. We're working on a partnership with Lyft to do airports now. So a lot of big things happening. And you know what? It's because we didn't stop. You know, we had support not only from the school and everybody from the GSM, but it was the community too. And it was all that support that really pushed us to keep going. And yeah, and so some of the things that I learned is don't be afraid of failing at all. I am a mentor to other startups, and I actually mentored a startup this morning, and they were so scared just to even contact the client just for questions. I said, why? Don't be afraid. The worst thing that can happen is that they don't even answer you and you're stuck in the same position you are now. So don't be afraid to fail. Fail often. You know, be comfortable with failing because you learn so much, not only about what not to do in the future, but you learned about yourself and you grow as a person. Also, I learned about resilience. Now, resilience is super important, I believe, in being a startup founder or within entrepreneurship, because it kind of ties in with failures. You're going to fail a lot. And if you're able to be strong, bounce back from it and keep going, be resilient, then nothing can stop you, you know? So that's why, you know, there's going to be a bunch of stuff, a bunch of people, a bunch of things are just going to hit you wrong ways. But as long as you can really pick yourself up, learn from it, and then keep moving, I think that is really, really important. Keeping it real. A lot of people don't say this, but I think it's really important for me to say. Be genuine, be transparent, keep it real with people. You know, people could read fake people a mile away, whether it's clients, investors, partnerships, anything. You know, if you're real with people, they're going to be real with you. And one of the biggest help to our company is being transparent to everybody. You know, if we're not going to make a deadline, just be open to them, and then they're fine with it. And if we're on top of a deadline, you know, be open to them. So, and there is one thing that I wanted to add in there, but I didn't, and I just forgot it. Actually, I wish I put it in there. But if I remember, I'll say it. But I'm here for questions now. Thank you, everybody.
Great. Thank you very much, Matt. That was awesome. I had heard so many great things about you and Japa, and I'm very impressed. And I'm sure you're an inspiration for many of these students here. You are definitely an up and coming celebrity in this space. So our sincere thanks to you. Yeah, and thank you for being open to questions as well. Does anyone have something in their mind that they'd like to bring up or ask Matt?
Yeah, do you mind if I unmute and ask some questions?
Yeah, please.
First of all, I love the idea because parking is literally my least favorite thing about driving. So I have 2 questions for you if you don't mind. The first is like, you know, obviously using your phone while driving isn't the safest thing. I think you might have touched on the presentation, but can you like clarify more? Because I see myself as a user of this app. So like while I'm driving, like I don't have a phone stand. So like how would I navigate that? Is there like voice control? Will it tell me? Could you elaborate on that more, please?
Yeah, your question is, it's very dangerous to drive with a phone in your hand and illegal. And how do you use Japa pretty much? Get a phone stand. You got to get a phone stand. You shouldn't be using your phone without a phone stand in your car anyway. And that's what we say to our customers, and our users, don't be using the phone while driving. Use it with your hands. We don't have any voice control. That is a great suggestion. We'll put that into our roadmap. But as of right now, yeah, definitely just be careful when you're driving. People use Google Maps because they have to, and they have phone stands. So it'll be the same thing for us.
And then my second question is, like, I totally, again, like I said, totally see myself using this. But one of the problems I have when it comes to parking, and like aside from finding spaces, that sometimes the parking spaces are so tight that it's honestly not preferable to, put like your car like in that situation. So does Japa tell you that, or is that something you're working on in the future?
No, actually, I've never even heard of this, but it's a great point to bring up. No, we don't take care of the sizes of the parking spaces. By law, there's actually a standard size for parking spaces. So if it's too small, I think they should be changing that themselves. So yeah, but it's a great suggestion, and I'll talk about it with the team because if that's a huge problem, we should be solving that.
Yeah, I think it's more on bad drivers than like the parking lots themselves, like parking irregularly.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Loved
No
it.
problem. Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
hi, my name is Leanne. I really enjoyed your presentation. This says a lot for your resilience and grit as an entrepreneur, just in the fact that you approached it with one idea and you completely changed as you gained more information. And I love that, because that's exactly kind of what I'm finding in my own experience that happens, is it turns into something completely different. And I think it's great to be so open to that. And I'm curious, what do you think surprised you most in your own journey in this as you went through this discovery?
Oh, good question. It's like surprised me in what way? Like just surprised me?
Yeah, like did it hurt? Well, more specifically, did it hurt you to give up your own original thought of who your customers were? And what did you find most exciting as you explored the other customer being the businesses?
Yeah. So did it hurt me to lose that? No, it didn't hurt me to lose that customer at all. No, because in my opinion, I got it, I'm the CEO of the company. So I have to look out for the best intentions of the company, no matter what we do, in any solution. So researching the market and looking at everything, going B2B was the best move for the company. So I felt very strong about that decision. And so, I didn't feel bad. What surprised me the most, I want to say, is how open all of our clients were to adopting our technology, especially from 2 students. I mean, our first customer was UC Berkeley, and it was a pilot. And, I came up with a business model, and I was like, oh, we'll see if they take it. We charge per space, plus we sell each sensor. We charge roughly around $6 per space per month, which is costly. We've done around 1,500 spaces at UC Berkeley now. And I was like, they're never going to pay for this. But I did. I gave it to them, because if they said, no, we're not going to pay for it, at least I know now to lower the price. But they wanted it right away. And then even within a 3-month pilot, a month and a half in, they wanted to expand to other parking lots and be a real customer. So it surprised me. It's like, wow, our idea from a classroom is actually making hundreds of thousands of dollars now. And what surprised me even more is when we bid on proposals competitively against other companies that've been in the industry for like 25 years. We just won a bid from UC Santa Barbara not too long ago, and we beat out 5 other parking companies, and it was just me and my co-founder, just the 2, and the company's still just the 2 of us right now. And it was that, I guess you would call it imposter syndrome. And because I didn't know, I wasn't confident in myself, and I needed other people to be like, hey, you're doing the right thing. Don't doubt yourself at all. And I was like, okay. And that's what made me push the company even more, because like, wow, these people want it and they're paying for it. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Yes, it did. Thank you. And I really appreciate it too. It's like the reinforcement, because I hear sometimes when people are talking about their ideas, and it's like an improv comedy, my background, we always learn sometimes it's best to give up our original idea and go with the next thing, and it ends up becoming magical. And so like hearing your story of like you started out with one thing and it turned into something bigger and more magical.
but I want to stress really what the real important thing about that is that we understood our customer. We researched our customer for a good year. Like I say things like, do things that don't scale when you're small, right? So what we did, and I learned this from a podcast, I think from Airbnb, right? And what we did was I was able, because we had like what, 3 customers, I was able to sit on the phone with them for 2 hours sometimes, just picking their brain, becoming their best friend and understanding their real problems. Because now if I understood their problems, we built a product to solve those. A lot of our clients come to us and they go, I'm so grateful you guys are actually built a product that solves something for us, because we have so many people come to us with a great idea, but it's not solving anything. So now they just wasted their time. So the whole thing about, us pivoting, yeah, it's because the most important thing was understanding your customer to a T.
Great. Thanks again, Matt, very much. That was, that was fantastic. I'm going to pass it off quickly to Sumiko Hong. She is the UC Davis LaunchPad Campus Director for an announcement about an opportunity for these current Startup Weekend participants.
Hey there. So I want to say thanks to Matt for a really great presentation. He participated in a lot of the programs that we have at our UC Davis campus, and many of our programs are open to all students from California universities. So I'm going to put a plug in here for our Little Bang poster competition, which you can participate in remotely, where you present your business idea in the form of a poster. And over the course of the academic year and 3 poster competitions, you can compete for prize money. There's extra prizes available for social innovation awards. We have an information session coming up on Tuesday of this week at the lunch hour. We also have an annual business plan competition where Matt and his partner Charles won first prize. This year, the first prize award will be $20,000. We have different tracks in social health, human health, veterinary health, technology solutions, social entrepreneurship. So we have a bunch of prize money, but even more important, we have a really great educational workshop series, which will be all online this year, which all of you are welcome to participate in. So we really encourage you to take a look at these opportunities. I see Philip Denny is on the call here, and he's going to talk to you also about the Berkeley Big Ideas competition, which is open to all UC students. But there's so many great opportunities for all of you to get involved, to keep testing your idea. I think a business plan competition is such a great way for you to create some milestones for yourself and your team, to keep actively working to reframe what it is you're doing to meet the deliverables and the guidelines for different competitions. We have teams that have successfully competed simultaneously in the Big Bang and the Big Ideas at the same time and been very successful. We have teams that have done one competition one year and another the second year. So I really encourage you to take advantage of all of the really great opportunities that are here for you, especially during these years when you're a student. Because I think what Matt said, being able to play this card and say, I'm a UC Davis student, or I'm a UC Berkeley or Santa Barbara student, Merced student, working on this new venture really opens a lot of doors to you. And one of the things that we teach and work on with all of our early stage entrepreneurs is building a big, robust, and strong community of people. A network for yourself will help your new venture go really far. So when Matt was talking a lot about working at UC Berkeley with their parking director, because he stayed in touch with me, we talked about it, and it turned out that the parking director at UC Berkeley was somebody that I'd worked with when I was at UC Berkeley 25 years ago. So, having those kinds of connections, being able to speak to people in your network about what your next steps are and who you're connected to and who you want to have a conversation with, just opens all kinds of doors. So keep working on your communication skills, keep working on your elevator pitch, tell everyone in your world who will listen, what your project is about and who you need connections to, because literally you just never know that your neighbor or your parents' friend who's over for barbecue or somebody in your network might know exactly the person who you need to talk to move your thing forward. So those are the few things that I have to say. please check out our competition. Thanks.
Great, thanks. Well, I guess I'll step in here. I'm Jenny. I'm one of the campus director at UCSF LaunchPad. And anyway, I just want to give a big congratulations to all of our teams here tonight. It's really so amazing what you accomplished in these few days, and especially even like seriously what you've accomplished in the last few hours. So everyone is super impressed, and you guys really hustled and made it happen. So so super excited about that. I want to echo what Sumiko was saying, and that we want to, keep pushing forward, keep hustling. While this event is ending, we're still here for you. Actually, you're here at this event because you belong to a school that has a LaunchPad, which is a great network. It has, Sumiko, me, Deanna. I mean, all of us all work together and all really want to help each other out and all of our students out. So continue to use us. We can, give you some coaching. We have mentors we can hook you up with. We obviously hold events like this too, but definitely connect with your campus directors. So Sumiko also pointed out about Philip Denny from Big Ideas. This is a fabulous competition for all of UC students. So without further ado, I think Philip is here to give us a little bit more information about Big Ideas.
Yeah, and thanks, Jenny. Thanks, Sumiko. So we've partnered really closely with the Blackstone Launchpads, but UC Big Ideas is an annual student innovation competition. It provides funding, resources, mentorship networks to UC students who have creative solutions to pressing social challenges. Like Sumiko was saying, we've had a number of teams that have come through Big Ideas and gone straight into Big Bang. There's a lot of cross-pollination across all these programs. And as sort of bootstrapping entrepreneurs, you should be taking advantage of all of these. As sort of to echo Sumiko again, there is no better time than when you are in college to start working on a social venture. You have a natural network of advisors around you and faculty. You have multidisciplinary expertise all around you, which is what you need to get a startup off the ground. You have people all around you brimming with ideas and talking all the time. So and you can be risk tolerant while you're still in school. So these are all opportunities that you should be taking advantage of. But with Big Ideas, there is a deadline of November 20th where you have to submit a 3-page application, essentially a concept note on why this idea is innovative, creative. And then we move teams on to the second round where they go through a formal mentorship period. We also have lots of skill development resources along the way. But sort of where we are in the pipeline is that we want to take students who have the earliest of early stage ideas. Often students still with ideas in their head, and we want to walk them through that ideation process to where they are implementation ready. The goal is to get you through that stage so that come next May, you have the funding, the networks, the partnership, the team, and the resources necessary to do whatever you need to do next to get the startup off the ground. Sometimes it's piloting, sometimes it's field testing, sometimes it's customer discovery, sometimes it's prototyping. But whatever it is, you'll be ready for it, and you'll be ready to take that next step come May. So we have a lot of really good events coming up in the next few weeks. We have a writing workshop on November 5th where we're going to go over storytelling for innovation. One of the challenges we see a lot of student teams have is they have great ideas, but they don't know how to communicate them effectively, especially in writing. So we're going to go over that on November 5th. And I'll put, after I get done this spiel, I'll put a link to an interest form where you can sign up to get more information on that. We also have an industry advising clinic where we have over 1,500 judges and mentors who have participated in Big Ideas, and we bring a bunch of them in to meet with students one-on-one. So we have experts in agriculture, in energy, in global health, in workforce development. And this is a great opportunity to get insights from industry professionals as well. And then last but not least is we use that network all the time, and I have advising sessions with students all the time just to help them troubleshoot ideas. So if you are looking for a certain type of experience or advice from a certain type of person, you can reach out to me at bigideascontest.org /advising, and we can help you find the networks that you need to help your venture get off the ground. So with that, I just want to say again, November 23rd and November 20th is our deadline. encourage you to apply. I encourage you to take advantage of all of these great UC resources while you still can. So thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Philip, for joining
Thank
us
you, Jenny.
tonight. Yeah. I do have a few people that I would love to thank before we get into the awards, because I know you guys are all wondering. But do want to give some shout outs to the Blackstone Charitable Foundation. They obviously sponsor our campus launchpads and events like these for us. So really great give to make this happen. Definitely want to give a thanks to Techstars, who's their partner in crime. They have their Launchpad team that pulls us as a network together. They put on these types of events like these startup weekends. This is all their infrastructure. And they really have an amazing network that all you guys have access to. So really, truly gives back first. So whenever you need some help, they're there for you. Absolutely want to thank our mentors and pitch coaches that helped us out this week and helped out our teams. We really got them to a far great place. So thank you so much. And some of those came from, our personal campus networks, but some of those just came from Techstars. Again, that kind of give first attitude. So thank you so much to our lovely panel of judges tonight. Fantastic questions for these teams. And yeah, I think they got some great feedback there as well. So thanks for being here. Also want to give a quick shout out to my fellow UC directors, campus directors. So totally there for us making this event happen. I think I got on a phone to be like, can you be here right now? And it happened. So, so thank you so much. And then to all of you guys, all you participants, the students here, there's so much hard work that is done. It did not go unappreciated. I know lots of you are up, on Discord at 4 in the morning and getting up at 7 in the morning again. And yeah, I think we heard 3 hours of sleep and 2 cups of coffee, and here I go. So you brought such passion to this, really trying to, and perseverance, like you stuck it out and made it happen to the end. And seriously, like you should be so proud of the results that came out with these pitches tonight. So, great job and thank you so much. Final thank you is huge thank you that made this event really awesome was our awesome facilitators, Josh and Michael. Seriously kept this so fun. Had such, we had from the beginning minute to, the end, it's just been a fabulous experience. Both on the front end, we were having a great time, but even in the back end, we had some great time, making this organizing happen. So you guys were amazing. And yeah, so I now want to be a participant in one of your events. So, but okay, without further ado, we have the awards. So our runners up, second place, with a cash prize of $300. I know, didn't know that was going to come either, but something. Our second place is NetSum. Woo! Yay! Awesome job, guys. And now for our grand prize winner is, drum roll please, Eileen. Yay! $500 prize to you. So, really amazing, inspirational. We hope you take these ideas forward. Honestly, all the teams did so fabulous. We hope you take all these ideas forward. But yeah, keep on going. And with that, I think I'm going to turn it back to Josh.
All right, well, I'm going to add my congratulations, and you guys did amazing. And before we get off the subject of winners and losers, I want to add this. Okay, I want to add that there was some debate and there was some disagreement with the judges. It was not super clear cut. I say that mostly to say 2 things. The first one is, if you are not one of the winners, take some solace in that it was close. If you're not one of the winners, take some solace that you almost were, right? And on the flip side, if you are one of the winners, you know, stay humble because you almost weren't. All right, so there you go. There's the two things I want to say because there was disagreement on that. Also, I'm going to tease you for something here because we normally do an after party at Startup Weekends, and we're doing a digital one here, right here on this Zoom, right after we're done here. So we're just going to roll straight into it. Of course, we're not there yet. Don't go anywhere yet. But if you really don't want to hang out with us, I mean, I get it. It's been a long weekend. Then you can feel free to run away after we finish here. But we have a actually really rare treat because we don't normally get this at a startup weekend, but a couple of the judges have generously agreed to actually hang out with us for the intent of answering your questions about how they did, about how you did. So like if you want to stay on and hang out with us, not only is it cool because you get to hang out with some what I think are some pretty cool people, but also you get some feedback on your performance this evening, which I think would be really fantastic. Okay. I have only a couple of things that I want to say before we just roll straight into that. And one of them is I'd be totally remiss if I did not give a huge thank you to Jenny and Nate. I told you on Friday night how much work it takes to make one of these things happen. I've done it. It's months of work. And then all weekend, they're working just like you guys are behind the scenes. And I think they spent probably 18 hours a day in Zoom just making rooms. And it's a thankless job, which is why I'm correcting that now. So big thank yous to Nate and Jenny. Without you guys, would not have happened at all. Okay, so I have two final things. And my two final things are a Startup Weekend tradition and what's next. So we're going to start with the Startup Weekend traditions. We always do a big group photo. Now, that is a little bit less amazing on the virtual world, but we're going to do it. What that means is I'm going to do a screenshot of our Zoom. And because we have enough participants, I'm going to have to do more than one and stitch them together, which is fine. So for those of you who want to be part of the group picture, which I recommend all of you do, why wouldn't you? You got to have a record of this. Turn on your cameras, give me a big smile, and then hold it for what I'm sure is an uncomfortably long period of time while I take multiple screenshots. Are we ready? Okay, let's do this. All right, screenshot number 1 of 2. All right, are we ready? Here we go. All right, awesome. We have our two screens in there. Hopefully those work out, and we'll make sure everybody has access to that so you guys can remember this forever. So thank you for that. Okay, the very last thing, and don't think whoever made the participant count drop by 1. Don't think you were sneaky. I saw it. All right, so back to this last thing about what's next. Most startup weekend teams are thinking about where do we go from here? And I want to just tell you 3 simple things. So the first one is that really only about 12% of teams at Startup Weekends continue beyond Sunday night. Only about 12%. And that's because Startup Weekends not really about making great companies directly, but about making great companies indirectly. So you do hear about teams that went on to do amazing things. I've been at Startup Weekends where these teams have gone on to be very successful. And some of them that I haven't been, like Zapier, are really well-known names. So that happens, but it's not the point. The point is that all of you amazing people that are here are going to go on to do great things. And by going through this program, this rite of passage, you guys are acquiring some of those skills and the relationships and just the experience of having gone through this that leads to a successful thing. So remember that. Okay. Second thing is tightly related to that, and I told you this on Friday, is that ideas are not as important as teams, right? And I know you all know this because I heard multiple people say it throughout the weekend. Ideas are just not as important as teams, right? Team really matters. And you guys are really lucky because you had some amazing team members here. We didn't have any disaster teams, which, if I'm being honest, was slightly disappointing because part of what I look forward to as a facilitator was coming in and fixing the train wreck team. And we didn't have a train wreck team. And so I found myself with spare time this weekend, and it was super weird. So you guys got to reap the benefits of all of that, which is great. But remember, teams are much more important than ideas. And the third thing is you will fail. Lots. You guys have experienced some of you have experienced that a little bit tonight. You've all experienced it throughout the weekend a few times, and you're going to experience it more and more and more. And the thing with failure is it stings, and it should sting, right? That's how we learn from it, is because it produces that sting. And the sting is also why we try to avoid it. So I'm not going to say that failing doesn't suck. It totally blows. But the thing about failure is that if I were to ask you, and I'm not going to do this because we can't do a popcorn style, but if I were to ask you what the average age of a successful startup founder is, most people would say that it's 20, 22, 24. I hear those numbers around a lot. The actual age of a successful startup founder is 45 years old. It's way older than you'd think. And there are exceptions to that. And those are the ones that make the news. But the average age is really in their 40s. You guys have 20 years before you're even at the average age, right? And what that means is that what is happening behind the scenes is that these people are failing a lot. You're going to keep failing over and over and over again until eventually you can cash in all of that failure for a win. That's how this works. So you're going to fail over and over and over again, and expect that going in. Enjoy the process, then learn from the failure and get better. Okay? All right. That's all I have to say about that. So the last thing is just a little piece of advice related to this. So as you guys go and think about what your next steps are, I'm going to give you a little recommendation. So some of you may want to continue along with these ideas, right? And successful companies that come out of Startup Weekend aren't necessarily the winners. I am not just talking to the two teams who won today, right? Like a lot of the companies that have gone on to be successful from Startup Weekend didn't even place, right? So I'm talking to all of you here. If you are planning or thinking about making something out of this idea, and we have amazing ideas here, so I hope that a lot of you do, I want you to do this. I want you to take a week off, right? Because this is a really big, complicated, messy, stressful experience. And you guys didn't know each other, and you were thrown together, and you did amazing work from it, right? But take a week off, schedule a little Zoom call, but schedule it for a week out or 2 weeks out or something like that. Give yourself some breathing room. Give yourself time to go back into your normal life for what passes in 2020 as a normal life, and get back into that mode, right? And then get back together and have the most honest conversation that you've ever had. Okay, a super uncomfortable conversation about what do you want? Is this something you want to do? Do you want to keep running on this idea together? And I encourage you as you go through to have those difficult conversations, because if you're successful in entrepreneurship, those conversations will only get more difficult and more uncomfortable as you acquire success. That's just the way that it works. So I encourage you to have those conversations and think about what you really want and be honest with your teammates, okay? All right, well, that is really all that I have to say. I'm just going to echo my thanks to the judges, to the mentors and coaches, to Mathew for speaking tonight, to all of the organizers and to all of the volunteers. Yay. I want a big thanks to Michael. He was one of the reasons that things ran as smoothly as they did, and that is a relative term, but relatively smoothly, I assure you. And so a really big thanks to Mathew. Really happy to have been working with you on this project. And then of course, the biggest thanks goes to all of you guys. I had an amazing time, and I really hope you guys will keep in touch with me, because I'd love to see where you guys go with stuff. So with that having been said, let's party, right? I guess let's do that. Let's move into our party phase. So we set down our business hats and we put on our party hats, and I don't know how those look different